Title, Under the Lights. Tyler was everything everyone expected from a high school quarterback: charismatic, talented, and always the center of attention. His life was a blur of practices, parties, and endless games under the Friday night lights. He'd never been one to think twice about it, until that fall day when everything shifted. It happened after a particularly grueling practice. Tyler was walking off the field, drenched in sweat, when he spotted Alex sitting by himself at the edge of the bleachers. Alex wasn't like anyone Tyler usually hung around with. He was quiet, always kept to himself, and had a reputation as the loner of the school, someone who never seemed to care for the cliques or the drama. Tyler hadn't really noticed him before. At least, not in a way that made him stop and think. But now, something about the way Alex was sitting there, head down, eyes lost in a book, caught his attention. Without thinking much about it, Tyler walked over. "Hey, you need a ride home or something?" he asked, a little awkwardly. It wasn't like him to reach out like this, but something about Alex made him want to try. Alex looked up, startled, his glasses slipping down his nose. "I'm good," he said quietly, a hint of surprise in his voice. "Thanks, though." Tyler nodded, not sure what to say next. There was an uncomfortable silence, but for some reason, it didn't feel as weird as Tyler expected it to. He had no idea why, but he stayed standing there, even after he'd asked the usual questions about the book Alex was reading. And that was the start of it. Over the next few weeks, Tyler found himself gravitating toward Alex more and more. He'd sit with him during lunch, or sometimes, they'd find each other in the library after school. Alex wasn't big on talking at first, but Tyler didn't mind. He liked just being near him, liked the quiet that seemed to settle between them. One evening, after a particularly tough game, Tyler was sitting on the edge of the field, letting the adrenaline wear off. He felt exhausted, physically drained, but also, weirdly empty. That's when he saw Alex, standing by the fence, watching him with an intensity that made Tyler's heart skip. "How was the game?" Alex asked, stepping closer, his voice quieter than usual. Tyler looked at him, blinking, unsure of what to say. "I don't know," he admitted, shrugging. "We won. But I feel off." Alex sat down next to him, their shoulders brushing. "Maybe you're just looking for something more than winning." Tyler turned to him, the words making something inside him stir. "What do you mean?" Alex just looked at him with those deep, thoughtful eyes. "Maybe you want something that doesn't come with trophies or cheers. Maybe you want something real." Tyler felt his chest tighten. He'd never really thought about it that way. He was always expected to be the hero, the leader, the guy everyone looked up to. But when he was with Alex, none of that mattered. There was just them, and for the first time, Tyler wasn't sure which part of his life was more real. The next week, when the team went out to celebrate the win, Tyler didn't join them. Instead, he found himself walking across the empty football field, toward Alex's house. He'd never made this kind of decision before, not one that didn't come with a playbook or a coach's order. Alex was sitting on his front porch when Tyler arrived, looking up in surprise. "What are you doing here?" Tyler didn't answer right away. He just sat next to him, a little out of breath, unsure how to put the emotions into words. "Maybe you were right," Tyler finally said, his voice low. "Maybe I'm looking for something real." Alex didn't say anything at first, just looked at him, his face softening. Then, slowly, he took Tyler's hand. And in that moment, with the stars above them and the world seeming to fade into the background, Tyler realized that maybe, just maybe, he wasn't meant to be anyone's hero. Maybe he was just meant to be himself, with Alex. They sat there for a while, the silence between them now comfortable. The only sound was the distant hum of the night, but in Tyler's heart, something was blooming, a quiet, powerful certainty that had nothing to do with touchdowns or applause, but everything to do with this, the feeling of Alex's hand in his.